Yo, you guys, what is good, man? Welcome back to Real United Talk, where we talk about all matters Real Madrid and Man United. This is going to be a Real Talk episode, and today we are going to be talking about Álvaro Arbeloa, and I'm going to be assessing his time so far at Real Madrid. And so far so decent. I think he has done a good job. I think he has done as good a job as he can ask of him, like being a new manager coming in mid-season. He obviously replaced Alonso after the Super Copa de España final, the 3-2 loss. And, we don't know what happened with Alonso, whether he was sacked, whether, he just left on his own. Like, there's been multiple reports and honestly, who knows, right? But yeah, Álvaro Arbeloa came in, and so like I said, so far so good. I think he's doing a decent job, but it's been a bit of a roller coaster, right? Like there's been tremendous highs, like the 6-1 against Monaco, or the recent 3-0 against Man City. But then there's also been tremendous lows, like his first game, the loss against Albacete in the Copa del Rey, and then also the 4-2 loss against Benfica that got us out of the top 8 of the Champions League, and then we had to play the qualifiers, right? So there have been highs and there have been lows, but I think that he's done as good as a job as he can do at the moment. Like I think that he's doing well with the squad that he has at his disposal. The fact that we have so many injuries in the squad and everything, and one of the main things that you can ask of any manager coming in like mid-season is that you just keep us with well and within our goals, right? Like, you just make it still possible to achieve our goals. Like I look at Carrick and Manchester United, interim manager came in, and what's he doing right now? Like Manchester United are on their way to the top four, right? Like that's all you can ask of a manager that comes in mid-season, whether it's interim or a permanent manager. Can you keep us in and around our goals where it is still possible to achieve our goals? And I think that that's what Abiola has done in terms of like he has come in and all our goals are still attainable. Yes, we're out of the Copa del Rey, but we're still in the Champions League. We're in the quarterfinals of the Champions League right now. We're still in and around, Barcelona. Like I think we're 4 points behind them. So it's still possible to win La Liga. It's still possible to win the Champions League. Are we going to win the Champions League? I don't know. Are we going to win La Liga? I don't know. But the fact that we're still in and around our goals makes it like, a good time so far. And I think he's doing a good job. Like I said, I like some of the things I've seen so far with him. I like the way the team is playing. I like the way we're playing as like a unit. Like, everybody seems to be playing for each other rather than playing as individuals. And that's the problem that Real Madrid have had for a very long time. I like the way we're defending as well. We're defending as a unit as well. I think we've become a bit more compact and there was a certain Real Madrid now, like every now and again, like our defending is just rubbish. But I think that right now we're defending as a unit. I think he's also doing well with the players as well. I think that some players are playing their best football right now. Like look at Vinny playing some of his best football right now. Scored 2 goals against Atletico Madrid. Before that, he had never really scored a goal against Atletico Madrid before. Valverde as well scored a hat trick against Manchester City. When does Valverde ever score a hat trick? And he scored a whole hat trick against Manchester City. His run of form right now is insane, right? So he's getting the best out of a few players. And also, one of the main things that you talk about when you talk about Real Madrid is are they pressing? Because we have a lot of like star players, egotistical players, right? So it's like, can you get these players to like buy into your plans and then, get them to press, get them to play the way that you want them to play? And right now, I like the way we're pressing as well. I think we're also pressing as a unit. I don't think we're pressing as individuals. And one of the main things about our team right now is the way that we're pressing. I think that that's one of the reasons why we're doing so well right now. Like we're pressing well, we're being like we're just very unified, right? Like in the way that we're playing. Like I said, defending, attacking, pressing, everything that we're doing as a unit and not as individuals, which is one of the problems that Real Madrid have had in the past. So yeah, Alvaro Abiola is doing a good job so far, as good of a job that we could have asked of him, right? And there's one thing that he's doing that I really like in terms of like promoting the academy players. I like the way he's like, making sure that the academy players get that chance, right? And he obviously came from Real Madrid's academy, so obviously like he knows them and he wants them to like get that chance while he's in charge, right? So it's nice to see. Like look at Thiago, for example. Like look at the way he's playing. Look at how consistent he's in the team. He's not just in and around the team. He's starting games. I know that that's due to injuries and everything, but he's starting games, right? So I'd like that because Real Madrid do have a good academy, right? Like we have a good academy that we just don't really use. Like players don't really get that chance in the team too much from the academy. And I've never really complained because it's just been the way, like it's the Real Madrid I know. Like I've never known Real Madrid to be this team that like promotes a lot of academy players. Like I've always had like one or two within the team, like Abiola himself, Futi, all these guys, right? But we never really tap into our academy But Abiola being who he is, tapping into the academy. Like I remember this game where he brought on like 5, 6 academy players. I can't remember what game it was, but he brought on like 5, 6 academy players to play. Like that's the type of thing that we don't really see too much of from Real Madrid, right? So it's nice to see that. It's nice to see academy players getting that chance. Abiola believes that Real Madrid have the best academy in the world, and we do have one of the best academies in the world, so we might also use it, especially this time where a lot of players are injured. Like you never know if there's a gem in and around there. Like you never know if there's an academy player around there that might just solve an issue that you guys are having. Like look at Thiago, for example. Like look at how he's helping us in the midfield with all the players that we have injured. Now he's starting games, so it's not looking like a liability. It actually looks like a very, very good player. That's how Valasencio came about. I know that right now things are kind of shaky with him, but a lot of injuries. We promoted Valasencio, and then he's a consistent member of the team, right? So we can't like just shrug aside our academy like it cannot be a potential solution to our problems. I know we'd rather like throw money at our problems, sign a new player and everything, but at the end of the day, like if you have an academy right there, the transfer window is not anytime soon. We have goals this season. We might need to tap into the academy, and that's what Abiola is doing right now. He just wants to give these guys like a chance, and I like that. I like that from him. So, like I said, I like a lot of things that he's doing right, but I do have some reservations about Abiola. And one of the first reservations I have is the injuries that we're going through right now. And I know I just said that it's very impressive the way we're performing with the amount of players that we have injured. It's very impressive that we're able to beat Manchester City 3-0, comfortably 3-0 when we have so many players injured. But I think that as much as we're getting to see good football under Abiola, even with the amount of players that will get injured, it's still kind of like a reservation for me. And the reason I say that is because I remember under Xabi Alonso where it was the same thing, right? Like, a lot of players were injured, like, when it was starting Adagula, Mastantuono, and, a lot of players that were out injured and was able to get the best of the team that he had at his disposal. But at the same time, it's like when those players started coming back from injury, that's when Alonso actually started to struggle, right? Like I remember when Bellingham, Camavinga, all these other guys started coming back from injury. That's when we start to see the worst side of Alonso, because it's all good and well when you're getting the best out of like less egotistical players, players who are kind of grateful to you for putting them in the team, right? But it's another thing when the guys who are expected to start every game come back, and then you're like, oh, I have to drop these players who have been playing well under me and then start these other guys who might not play the way I want them to play, but it's just the way it has to be, right? So my thing now is that I feel like I've seen this movie before where you're getting the best out of like players who are kind of like grateful to you, or like just natural workhorses in the team, like Valverde. But when all the players come back from injury, when Bellingham comes back from injury, when Mbappe comes back from injury, when all these guys have come back from injury and are consistent members of the team, can you still get the best out of them? Can you still get them to press? Can you still get them to defend as a unit? Can you still get them to attack as a unit? Can you still get them to play as a team? Because that's what I want to see, right? That's what I'm waiting to see. And players have started come back from injury, and it hasn't really been a problem, right? But at the same time, like these players just started come back from injury. Like Bellingham just played his first game recently. Mbappe has played like 2 games since then. So I need to see it consistently, because, like I said, that's what happened with Alonso, right? Like when all the players were out injured, he was getting the best out of the team. He was getting them to play exactly the way he wanted them to play. Real Madrid were thriving. We were first in La Liga. We were beating Barcelona in the El Clasico. Like everything was going well. But when all these players started coming back from injury, that's when things started to go wrong, because Alonso had to play the best players regardless of whether they fit his plans, regardless of whether they played the way that he wanted them to play. I'll never forget the Atletico Madrid game where he started Bellingham in that game, started Adagula as well, who had been one of our better players. In that same game, Adagula was one of our better players because everybody was playing rubbish. But Adagula was one of our better players. He scored and he assisted Mbappe for the goal as well. And then Adagula still got subbed out first and he left Bellingham on the pitch. And I just feel like that was when we lost the game. We had already lost the game, but that was when like we full on like lost the game. And I'm waiting to just see if that's the same case with Abiola, where he makes decisions for the benefit of the egotistical players rather than for the benefit of the team, rather than for the benefit of his system and the way that he wants the team to play. And we know Real Madrid, like with Real Madrid is like your plan doesn't matter. Can these star players fit your plan? That's what matters. Like if you have a plan and it doesn't fit the star players in the team, then it's not a good plan if you are Real Madrid, right? But at the same time, like you have to be able to make big calls. Like, if this player doesn't fit your plan for this particular game, then you might have to drop him to the bench. Or you might just have to be able to fit your plan around those star players. And that's what I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to see if Abiola can fit his plan around the star players in the team. Can you fit your plans around Jude Bellingham when he comes back? Can you fit your plans around Mbappe when he comes back? Can you fit your plans around Camavinga when he's consistently in the team? Like that type of thing. Like, can you fit your plans around these star players or when these star players come back, are your plans going to be hindered? Are your plans going to be brought back, right? Like, is the team going to regress or progress when these players come back? That's what I want to see before I say Abiola has my full backing. Because right now, like I said, I like what I'm seeing. I like the way we're playing as a team, as a unit, and it's always a good sign when a manager is getting the best out of like an injury-ridden squad, right? Or in Real Madrid's case, I feel like it is when every player is back fit, is when we have like the big squad that we have, the squad full of star players. I think that's when managers start to struggle because they have to fit these players into their plans, and these players might not necessarily fit their plans. And that's something I want to see with Abiola. One of the main reasons why I'm even bringing up this point is because he doesn't have that much experience in the managerial game. Like, he doesn't have that much of a name in the managerial game, like someone like Carlo Ancelotti who can make big calls and everybody just look at him and be like, he has been doing this for a while. But look at someone like Alonso, who, yes, he has been successful in his career so far as a manager, but at the same time, like, he hasn't been in this game for too long. So it's like, he still doesn't have like the gall to like make those big calls, to make those big plays and everything. And Abiola is the exact same way. He just finished coaching the youth team, right? So he doesn't have that gall yet to make the big calls in big games. Like, oh, you don't really fit my plan. So for this game, so I'm have to drop it to the bench, or can you get them to fit your plan for that particular game? Like, you can have them playing however they want to play against the lower teams in the division and everything. But when you're playing against the best teams, when you're playing against Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, when you're playing against Man City in the Champions League, Bayern in the Champions League, can you get them to play the way that you want them to play? Can you get them to stick to a position you want them to stick to? Can you get them to press? Can you get them to defend? That type of thing. That's what I need to see. And I need to see that when all the players are like consistently in the team. And when I see that, like I said, that's when I'll give Abiola the okay. That's when I'll say, you know what, this guy, yeah, he's the guy for Real Madrid, and you can go into the long term. Because I don't want to dispute the idea that Abiola might actually be a top manager. I've seen some people say that there's not really top managers in the game anymore. When Abiola got hired, right, it's like, oh, how do Real Madrid hire Abiola? Like, Real Madrid should be having the best managers in the world, the biggest names in the world. But let's not forget that everybody has to make a name for themselves. Everybody starts somewhere. I remember when Pep initially got hired for Barcelona, it was the same thing. Mourinho was right there, who had just won 2 Premier League titles with Chelsea. He was right there, and then they picked Pep over him, right? So it's like, everybody has to make a name for themselves. Everybody has to start somewhere. Alonso started somewhere. Carlo Ancelotti started somewhere. Everybody has started somewhere. And Abiola has started somewhere. Yes, starting at Real Madrid is like a big call, but I don't want to dispute the idea that he might actually be like a top manager. Like, it's the same thing with Carrick as well. Like, it's almost like people are hesitant to believe that we might just have hit the nail on the needle with an interim manager. Like, they're still scarred from like the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer thing, where it's like, oh, we hired a club legend to be an interim manager. He did well at first, but then everything started to crumble in within and everything. Like, they don't want to believe that there's a chance that Carrick might actually just be like a top manager, right? And I'm not saying that Carrick is a top manager. I'm not saying that he's going to be the man to lead us to titles and get us back to where we want to be and everything. But so far so good. So I don't want to dispute the possibility that he might just be a top manager, and this might just be the start of his era. Like, this might be the start of the Michael Carrick era at Manchester United, the Michael Carrick era as a manager. I don't want to dispute that possibility. And same thing with Abiola. I don't want to dispute the possibility that Abiola might just be a top manager, and this might just be his humble beginnings, or not humble beginnings because he's at Real Madrid, right? I don't want to dispute that possibility. So let's wait and see, right? But like I said, so far so good. If I wanted to rate Abiola's time at Real Madrid so far, I think I'll say a good 7.5. I don't want to give him like an 8 or a 9 or something like that. That's too much. But I think I like the way the team is playing. I like the things to do in the academy. I like the way that he's getting the best out of the players at the team. So yeah, I think I'll give him like a good 7.5, maybe 8. People might say 7.5 is harsh, but I think 7.5 is a fair rating. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Abiola so far. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about Abiola, about Real Madrid. Is Abiola the man to take us to the future? Let's know all of that in the comments. But with that comes the end of this episode. Thank you guys again for tuning in, and I hope to see you guys again next time. Safe.